I would just like to respond to all the different videos that have been made on the topic of scene kids and emo kids. Now, first off, I'd like to say that to the author of the initial video, you're free to say whatever you want, and I'm fine with that. But it's probably not. I probably wouldn't count on it being anything substantial. As far as the responses that I've seen, most of the arguments that I come across are complete ad hominem arguments. This is one of the first things that you learn not to do in any kind of debate or speech class. And basically, the reason that is the case is if you give that person a status of being a victim, you make it harder to argue against them, because the hearers give sympathy to the person who's being attacked. So you're taking the sympathy that people were feeling for your scene and for your genre, turning around and giving it to her. Therefore, you're letting her win. So I'd advise, if you honestly have no problems with the people you associate with, then there's no need to justify yourself. Let her say whatever she wants to say. She can't take back her words. So by you adding more and being harsh, you're not changing anything. You're just giving her the power by becoming angry and paying attention to her. It's become the new popular thing to, even though you belong to a scene, not admit it. You say, oh, well, I'm my own person. People think that they're original, but they're not. There's not really any actual originality. Every thought is contingent upon a previous thought. And it's an infinite regress, all the way back to the point where you develop cognitive ability. And every single one of those thought processes has come from something. And since we all live in the same world, the chances of you truly being original is so staggeringly minute that it's probably best not to ascribe to that. I know it's the popular thing to say, oh, well, I'm weird, or I'm unusual, or I am an individual. In existence, you are. You are your matter. You exist where only you can exist. But the fact of the matter is, you are influenced by everything around you. The sooner you get out of this feeling of being so special, the sooner you can actually develop a personhood. Because if everyone is special, and everyone is, then no one is special. Because speciality then becomes normalcy. I hear, what a lot of you people are saying whenever you're complaining. You're trying to prove that what she says isn't true of your scene or your affiliation. Well, you have to take into account that, for one, she's speaking from limited experience. From another, quite possibly she's generalizing. And another thing, she's using hyperbole in a lot of what she's saying. So by you trying to prove that not everyone in your scene is like the way she's describing is completely futile, because everyone already knows that not everyone in the scene is like that. It's not a universal statement. It's not true of the whole group. It is a generalization. It's based on experience. It's based on what you've observed. The emo culture, they like to complain about things. And a lot of this has generated from the education system. In our modern education system, we're no longer taught how to question things. And because of that, the things that we don't understand, rather than questioning them, we complain about them. And complaining does one of several things. It leads to despair, anger, or a sense of entitlement. With the emo scene, the general consensus is that the complaining that they do leads to despair. If one truly does not understand how to question things, he will never get to the point where he understands anything. Take, for instance, those who despair. Generally speaking, the emo scene. They complain about a situation, most notably a torn relationship, a bad relationship, a friend on drugs, suicide, other such things. Rather than questioning what is behind those things, rather than delving into those things, there is mere complaint. If they would ask themselves, deeper questions, perhaps they would see that this broken relationship saved them from a lifetime of misery with a horrible person. A friend with drugs, ODs or whatever. Rather than questioning and rather coming up with the solution that this is a perfect example of why I shouldn't do those things and why I should help people get off those things, which leads to community service, which leads to benevolence. There is just complaint. I mean, in order to come to an answer, you have to have a question. They whine and complain, but there's no solution. Or they assume that there's no solution. But maybe if we actually started truly questioning things, asking ourselves tough questions, getting over ourselves, realizing that we are just a part of a whole. We are not some shiny beacon of amazing intellect. The endeavor is to create an anti-culture. In all of these scenes, that is the endeavor. That is why they started. The problem with that is that in doing that, they create their own culture. And to be a truly anti-culture, you have to split from culture. So from all of these deviations, you create more deviations. You have subjected yourself to a reactionary mindset, and therefore you have absolutely no stability. Stop complaining. Start questioning. Better yourselves so that you can function better in whatever society you choose to be part of.